Oh, hey friends, it's your girl Amber, your favorite realtor. I am here with an update on my progress for the 12-week year. We are almost at the halfway point. It is 6 weeks in, and I can't believe it. How is it October already? Time just flies. So I do have some progress to share with you. A summary of my experience with it so far is that it has definitely helped me to focus on certain tasks. Every day when I go to sit down to work, I have a roadmap for what I want to work on. I have hit a lot of milestones for different tasks that I laid out for myself. And some of these things are things I've been wanting to do for years and had never really dialed in before. However, it also has not really given me the motivation and inspiration that I was hoping for and the momentum. I kind of thought it was going to just be this magic bullet where I would be super excited to crush my goals for the end of 2025. And that hasn't really happened. The progress has been slow. I have seen momentum and I have seen progress, but it's more of a slow and steady wins the race than a sprint. So let me get my journal. So yeah, here's my tracker. If you want to hear more about why I chose the 12-week year, what the 12-week year is, and the process I went through to get my specific goals and then to get the tasks laid out for the goals, I have 2 previous videos that you can watch that lay out the process. And so this, I'm going to just jump right into the progress. My first goal I had is to get 6 new buyers and sellers, basically during the 12 weeks or through to the end of the year. And I thought that was pretty ambitious. The second goal is to have 10 new agents to join me, and that was very ambitious. This is how I've been tracking it. You can see I have the goal on top, and then I have these check boxes on the bottom, and this is using the Pomodoro technique because I decided to track the amount of time I spend on tasks instead of numbers. But I also have priorities and certain milestones up here at the top, which you can see that I check off. So for week 1, I really wanted to focus on systems, getting some systems set up. Honestly, that's really the focus for the whole first part. I thought it would take me 2 to 3 weeks. I'm in week 6 and I'm still working on this. But for the first week, I got my seller drip campaign set up in my new CRM. I learned how to use the CRM, how to set up a template, how to set up an automation, and I set it up for the sellers. And I sent out the first campaigns to all my sellers, and I set up a newsletter. And this was a new template that I wanted to do. For both of these, I put a lot of time into researching. So it did take quite a few hours just to really look at all the different options. I wanted something that was very visually appealing, not just text. And I wanted it to be on brand and just to be very visually beautiful, so to have images. And so I did get that set up, and I learned how to use my CRM, which is Lofty. That's the CRM we have at my brokerage. However, when I sent out the newsletter, it did go to spam. And that was really discouraging. And I know there are a lot of ways that you can prevent emails from going to spam. And trust me, I had done all of them. And I even sent the email to this test that tells you how likely it is to go to spam. And mine was like 95% good that it would not go to spam, but it still did. So that was so discouraging after all of the time that I had invested in getting that out the door. And so I did get a little bit derailed on the second week, but before I go to the second week, I also did have a buyer appointment with a new buyer who did end up signing an agreement with me. in the second week, but I met with her in the first week. So seller drip campaign, newsletter, learning my Lofty workflow, and a new buyer consultation. All that happened in the first week. So that was really, really good. And then towards the end of the week and into the second week, like I said, I got kind of derailed. I ended up very randomly, I think because I was so discouraged, I spontaneously decided that I would open an Etsy shop. And I started getting all excited and put a lot of time and energy into designing products for my new Etsy shop, which has nothing to do with real estate. So that was kind of fun. But, towards the end of the week, I was like, what am I doing? I do have an Etsy shop now, side note. And it's always good to have a side hustle and to have some extra money coming in. But, that's going to be like $1 here, $1 there. I did sell one candle to a friend. But yeah, let's focus on real estate. Let's stay on task, which is the whole point. So I was able to get back on task. And I did have a showing with my new buyer. I did get the template for my buyer drip campaign. And I read the book Exactly What to Say. So this is practicing scripts for working with buyers and sellers. That's something else that I had always had on my list of wanting to get better at. I still need to practice, obviously, but I was really proud of myself that I got the book and I read it. And I also got the template, or I don't know if template is the right word, but I created an avatar to create AI videos, which I do have an Instagram channel that is for local content, for local news, that is completely AI. It looks like me, it sounds like me, but it's not me. And I had already been creating videos, but I wanted the AI avatar to be a little bit more natural. So I needed to upload a 5-minute video, whereas before I had only uploaded a 1-minute video. So it was looking kind of glitchy. It was like repeating facial expressions and stuff because it didn't have a lot to work with. So I got that 5-minute video uploaded and got that AI avatar, the robot Amber, ready to go so that I could create more content for that. So that was a big milestone as well. And that was it for week 2. Let's see, what happened in week 3? So in week 3, I got my buyer under contract and I had 2 listing appointments. And they ended up signing up with me as well. And one of them is also going to buy with me. So they probably signed up on the next week for week 4, but that means I had 2 buyers and 2 sellers under contract, which my goal was 6 by the end of the year. And I thought that was ambitious. I really honestly wasn't sure if I would get any because, we're getting into the colder weather. And I had been talking to one of these sellers for a while, but I didn't think they were going to sell until spring next year. So that was really exciting that happened. And then in week 3, I did also post a lot of videos with my AI. And and I think that was pretty much it. I mean, I did spend some time following up with agents and with buyers and sellers, but I didn't get much done in terms of my systems. The only thing that was a little bit disappointing was I also realized that my original goal for the videos was to be able to completely outsource this to my assistant so that she would be the one finding the stories, creating the scripts on ChatGPT, creating the video with my AI robot Amber, and then posting it. And I am pretty much realizing that that's not going to be possible. She does help a lot. Like she will send me the stories, but then I choose which one I think will be interesting. She does create the script and create the social media post, but I always have to end up editing it a lot. And one of the ones she sent me turned out to not be Cambridge, Massachusetts. It was Cambridge, Ontario, and it wasn't really her fault. It really did say MA instead of CA for Canada, but it was like this new restaurant, and I was trying to figure out where's this restaurant, and it turned out it was in Ontario, and she was not picking up on that because she's not local, and online it really did say MA, so ChatGPT was convinced it was in Massachusetts. So it wasn't her fault, but it did show me that I can't outsource that as much as I may want to. Week 4, I got my buyer drip campaign set up, and that was really exciting. So by week 4, I had the seller campaign and the buyer campaign ready to go. For the seller campaign, it's going, it's automated. I had the leads in the database, and I assigned the hashtag to get that going. But for the buyers, I don't think I have the hashtag assigned to the buyers yet. But I got the template and the whole campaign ready to go. So that was really exciting. Uploaded a lot more videos as well, and talked to some agents, but that's about it. And then week 5, I took a trip to Montreal. I drove to Montreal and back. That was kind of, more time consuming than I thought it would be, and harder on my back, and I came back exhausted. But I did get some work done before my trip. So I sent out another newsletter, because, the first one was my September newsletter, and the second one was my October newsletter. And this time, because I had the template all ready to go, and I pretty much knew what the system was going to be, I was able to train my assistant on how to do it. So she helped a lot with it. And then next time she'll be able to help even more. And it did not go to spam, because this time I was able to figure out what I needed to change. And I had another buyer appointment, and I don't think that person's not going to sign up with me. They're like a year out, but we met, and we're still talking, and it went well. And then in week 6, which week 6 is still not over, so we're partway through week 6, I had another listing appointment, and they are going to sign with me. So that was really exciting, and let me tell you why. It's because this seller came to me through my automated drip campaign. They were a paid for lead through realtor.com, and I always call these new leads. I always get the voicemail. I leave a message. I don't hear back from them, and I have been historically very terrible at following up with them. But this time, after I left the message, I put them in the database. I put them on the drip campaign. They were getting my automated emails. Now, I wasn't 100% sure whether they were getting the emails or whether it was going to spam, but they were getting them, because then he responded to me and said, let's meet. And we had a meeting, and now he's going to sign with me. Not 100% optimistic about this listing, because he really wants to overprice the property. I decided to just go for it, just so I can get the opportunity to meet with him. He owns multiple properties. Maybe I'll end up renting it, because I don't think he's going to sell it at this price. But in any case, it still felt like a win. So halfway through my 12-week year, I have 5 out of my 6 buyers and sellers that I wanted to have, and these are all under contract, not just people I'm talking to. I have an open house tomorrow, so I have 2 sales that should happen before the end of the year if all goes well. And yesterday, I had an agent join my group. So I now have 4 agents that are working with me. 3 are local in Massachusetts. This new agent, she came through LinkedIn. She just joined yesterday. And I still need to get a good automation set up for following up with agents, because when I call them and I talk to them, I always end up talking to them for like an hour, which feels great at the time, but then it's not sustainable. And I don't have good systems to continue to follow up with them after that. So that's next on the list for the second half. And I do still need to get good automations in place to enter my buyers and sellers into the database, to upload the contacts, and to have my assistant help with that. So that's not set up yet. That's not automated. Everything still feels a little bit too manual for me. But overall, it's definitely been really, really great having the 12-week year. It has helped to keep me on track. It's helped to keep me focused. Even when I lost track for several days and was off doing my side hustle and creating random Etsy products, at some point I did say, what am I doing? I'm supposed to be doing my 12-week year. And I was able to come right back to it. And yeah, some of these automations, like the seller drip campaign, I've never had a good one. I mean, I've had stuff that I had set up over the years in my different CRMs, but none of them were as professional or as well thought through and set up as this one. So this really feels like a big win. And even if I were to switch CRMs or to switch brokerages, which is not going to happen because I love my brokerage, but I would be able to bring this campaign with me because I own the images, and I would just, set it up in the new CRM. But yeah, so that is my update. It's going really, really well. Slow and steady wins the race. Can't wait to see what I accomplish in the next 6 weeks. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining. And I hope you come back to see my progress in the next video.